just a minute ago about how I am absolutely prepared to fight for our constituents here in Massachusetts, including those who identify as a part of our immigrant community, a very robust community that contributes not just culturally, but economically. If President-elect is able to proceed with his mass deportation plan of millions of people, it will disrupt significant industries here, including our healthcare industry, higher ed, those who serve our elders and elder care tremendously. And then also, it's not as easy as people think. Because if you're talking about mass deportation of folks in the millions, you are going to be rounding up folks who are here legally. Simple as that. And so this is fear-mongering. This is also, of course, fueled by hatred and fear of other. So I just want to name that as I am talking to my colleagues, and we're collectively naming what is coming to us in terms of this rhetoric. We are prepared to fight collectively and together. So with Mayor Wu, the governor, it's going to take all of us. And I told them our AG's office is willing to step up and protect them. So, for example, we can't really reply to hypotheticals. They're talking about what they're going to do, but yet have not produced any plan on how they're going to do it. We have not just our Constitution, we have state laws, some local ordinances that are applicable here to help us fight back. And I have to name that we're prepared and ready to fight back on any plan to mass deport our people.
Cope.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great, wonderful day. And it seems that the Democrats are at it again, where they're being quite anti-American and pro-non-American, because they're trying their best to try to keep the illegal immigrants so they can stay in power and all that great jazz. And it ain't looking too great here. I mean, it is quite insane on how much the Democrats really hate Americans and trying to say, like, oh, the Americans want this, when you had majority of them just go against it. And then you have this one so-called Democrat here that is saying, like, oh, we're going to fight this, we're going to make it a sanctuary city after Trump's attacking me, and it's just really dumb.
Of Los Angeles, Heidi Feldstein-Soto joining us. So let's talk about what this actually looks like, because what some of the Trump supporters say is, look, we don't necessarily want to round grandma up outside the grocery store, but if somebody's a criminal and they're leaving jail, why shouldn't ICE know about that to get them out of the country? What say you?
Well, I would say that first of all, my job is to enforce the law, and assuming the sanctuary ordinance passes, my job is to enforce that. From our perspective, the public safety issues are important. We want our immigrant community to feel safe coming forward. We want them to feel safe reporting a crime and to trust and build a relationship of trust with law enforcement. It's very difficult to do if they have a loved one in their household or a next-door neighbor who might get deported if the law enforcement is really cooperating on a deportation level.
So how does this go? Because it sounds like the Trump administration is literally saying we're going to target Los Angeles, and then you all are passing this sanctuary ordinance. We also know there's a sanctuary, we're a sanctuary state, so the whole state is sort of under that. How does that work?
Well, certainly federal agents are free to operate in public spaces. What the sanctuary ordinance does is it says that the city of Los Angeles won't use its public property or its public resources or its public employees to facilitate or help or assist in the deportation. You also go a step further than that. We formed a task force within the city, and it's really focused on protecting us from a disproportionate or discriminatory treatment in terms of grants and allocations of funding. So we do anticipate that there will be some skirmishes over federal funding, but we'll be ready to defend.
Are you hearing from people that are scared?
Yes.
And what are they saying?
It depends on which community you're talking about. The two most vocal communities that at least I personally have heard from are immigrants who have been often in this country, in this city for decades, and they have U.S.-born kids, and they're worried about family separation.
There's a few things that I have to address here. First, she's always saying immigrants without saying illegal immigrants, and this is the key point. They're never going to start targeting actual legal immigrants. Now I say legal immigrants. They're going after illegal immigrants, and the only other way those people would be, illegal or would be a fear of is if they were actually illegal immigrants and what have you. So I don't see to where this is going to be an actual necessary issue, because it's not really an issue, and she's also trying to say that, like, oh, we're going to avoid federal law and break federal law in order and facilitate illegal immigrants would be a huge issue. So that's a problem. But these fools are going further than that, right? They're going to say that, like, oh, by the way, our people, our constituents, our Americans, should go and pay for the illegal immigrants' laws or court cases when they commit crimes or before they get deported, so that way, so that they have a fighting chance. They use taxpayer money in order to, fight the courts and then get deported. That's what they're saying. And the American citizens don't seem to like that very much.
Proposal to pay for undocumented immigrants' legal fees with taxpayer dollars is sparking debate in Frederick.
Mayor Michael O'Connor pitched the idea at a press conference last week, laying out the city's response to Trump's mass deportation plans.
Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor has more on the controversial initiative and how residents are reacting. Rebecca?
Yeah, Mary and Kai, the mayor says that he wants to provide the resources to prevent unfair deportation decisions. But residents I spoke with argue this is an unfair use of their tax dollars.
In many regards, this election cycle did not go as I had hoped.
In response to Trump's national immigration policies, Frederick Mayor Michael O'Connor pledging to carve out space in his local budget for a legal advocacy fund, which would use tax dollars to pay undocumented immigrants attorneys' fees as they fight deportation.
Ensuring they have the legal support they need to stand strong and remain in this community they have chosen to call home.
O'Connor explaining his intention is to allocate the money to organizations already providing similar legal services, helping them expand the number of people they're able to support, although he's still determining the exact dollar amount to set aside. Some residents we spoke with supportive of the end goal.
I believe a lot of non-immigrant people also contribute to the country as well.
But all of them against their tax dollars footing the bill.
I'm torn.
I don't like the idea. I'd rather our taxpayer money go towards American citizens.
You know, you break the law, it's just what happens. Nobody helped me pay for my attorney fees when I break the law. So why should we be paying for theirs out of taxpayer money?
But this comes at a cost. And this could be a very large cost for Frederick. And quite frankly, Frederick can't afford.
Now, what we have here is that we have these Democratic people. They're trying to say, like, they wanted to move out, etc. And like New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Boston, to really keep their illegal immigrants. And it goes on to say that the mayor Wu of Boston is going to fight back and not push back against, even with the federal funding being cut, because they really want to keep their illegal immigrants. Take a look.
Battle as we take a live look at the Capitol Hill. When President-elect Trump takes office, a Republican congresswoman says sanctuary cities like Boston could lose federal funding. Mayor Michelle Wu responding tonight. Boston 25 News reporter Drew Caritas, what did Mayor Wu tell you?
Rachel, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu says Boston is in tune with following the laws associated with federal funding, as we're hearing more threats that sanctuary cities could be on the chopping block for not aligning with Trump's immigration vision.
If these Democrat governors and mayors want to use their federal dollars and they want to use this funding to harbor illegal criminal aliens, then yeah, we're coming after their money and they don't deserve a single penny of it.
Georgia Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is outlining the cuts she envisions, targeting more than 100 sanctuary cities across the United States as the incoming chair of a newly created subcommittee that will focus on lowering federal spending.
The city is always moving where we can to follow the laws associated with any federal funding.
Boston Mayor Michelle Wu is not wavering amid more threats from the incoming Trump administration about sanctuary cities, a status that prohibits city resources from being used for federal immigration enforcement.
I did have the chance to meet with some of the White House officials who focus on federal grants to cities and talked about the grants that Boston has been awarded and what that will look like over the next couple weeks.
Mayor Wu says she's working to make sure that those federal dollars are secured before January, with President-elect Trump promising mass deportations starting on day one. Boston is among a list of 8 sanctuary cities across the Commonwealth, which could soon grow to 9.
So yeah, you have that. Now, apparently it's getting a bit worse than this, guys, because the Democrats have gone completely insane, right? They have gone complete insane world, because now we have a New York Democrat pretty much just saying that Senator Kruger pretty much saying that if we do not get federal funding or what have you from the Trump administration, etc., we're just gonna secede from the United States. We're gonna move away, which means we'll go to Canada. And that's their ploy. In fact, she's calling for all of northeastern states to pretty much just move to secede from the United States and go to Canada. I don't see on how any of this is remotely possible. And even still, if that was the case, if they're begging for federal funding and they want to be able to move to another country, I don't see to where that's going to be a possibility, considering they need money to function. And if they don't get that federal funding, well, they're SOL, right? They're just screwed. And then it's going to beg the differ if Canada even wants them. And to be honest, I don't think Canada wants them. Canadians, if you're in the watching this video right now, just put it in the comments if you even want these people in here. But without further ado, here's the video.
Radical ideas to counter the Trump administration appear to be gaining traction among some Democrats. One New York state senator is even floating the idea of having New York withhold federal taxes and then the Empire State seceding to join Canada. Senior correspondent Eric Shawn is live with more. There's about as much chance of that as a pink unicorn leading the Thanksgiving Day parade tomorrow.
Hello, John. Good morning. Well, it's a defiant plan against President-elect Trump's mass deportation plan. Succeed and join our neighbor to the north. That is exactly what Manhattan liberal Democrat State Senator Liz Kruger is proposing, that the Empire State and fellow blue northeastern states leave the U.S. and join Canada to protest Trump's plan. She said this back in September before the election, quote, "Instead of us all trying to illegally cross the border at night without them noticing, which is pretty hard because there's lots of us, that they should instead agree to let us be the Southeast province, a new province of Canada. New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont would combine and be a great new province as the Southeast province of Canada. Basically, everybody in these states are progressive Democrats who would fit in pretty well with the political philosophy of at least most of the Canadian elected officials." Well, in a new interview with Politico, State Senator Kruger, who chairs the powerful State Senate Finance Committee, also says that her state and the others should stop sending tax money to the federal government as part of their protest. New York State's controller says that the Empire State sends more than $361 billion a year, or provides 6.5% of the whole federal budget. But incoming Trump border czar Tom Homan says nothing will stop them.
So those people who say they're going to stop us from what they're doing, they will not. I'm going to do this job. Men and women of ICE are going to do this job. You're not going to stop us. But let me give you a word of advice. If you impede us, there's going to be consequences. You cannot help us.
Well, I talked to State Senator Kruger's office this morning to request an interview, but so far, John, we have not heard back. Back to you.
I might be mistaken, but the amount of money that New York State sends to the federal government is about the totality of Canada's budget, I think. Eric, thank you so much.
It's really quite annoying, isn't it? Where you have Democrats where they're literally just saying Americans, real Americans, born and raised Americans, F you, we don't care about you, but we want these illegal immigrants in a country, and we will fight and break laws in order to keep these illegal immigrants. But you Americans, you people that obviously do not want them here, do not want to spend your taxpayer money on keeping them here and fighting their legal battles when they commit crimes, yeah, you're going to have to do all of that. We want you to do it. And then they're all saying like, oh, well, we'll just move to Canada. Do they ever possibly think that that Canada even wants them. I mean, we just know that Canada, as of recently, they're trying to stop getting so many legal immigrants because there's too many of them. They don't have enough houses and stuff for these people. So maybe they don't even want these people here in the first place, among many other part of their laws. So there's that. And they're also not saying that, like, oh, they're officials. Do you think the people of Canada want you? Maybe the elected officials want you, but that doesn't mean the people of Canada want you. So they're not even being, they don't even care about what the Canadians, the people of Canada think, because they're almighty and we're like, we'll just join them, but the people of Canada may not even want you guys here. So I don't even know what to say about this. These people are insane. They're actually diabolical, and how much they're just willing to fight for illegal immigrants instead of their own American people. It's really quite insane. And this is showing on how much the Democrats actually care about this country. They don't really care anything about this country. They want to keep their power. They want to be able to make sure they have free labor for all, so that way they can hire these people for pretty much nothing, which is damn near illegal, and scorn the American people. And this is what they're doing. It's insane, guys. And let this be known that this is the Democrats just don't care. And I think that we have finally woken up to the reality to where the Democrats are, and the American people on the ground, at least a few that were there, they say, like, even some of them may be okay, but we don't want to pay taxpayer money for people that commit crimes. Like, I don't know, the Democrats are so out left field. They're so out of touch with the reality and what the American people want that it's just not going to go good for them regardless of what they do. And this is how much they're doing it. It's insane, and this is the reality that we are going to have to live in because, well, they're insane. Well, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted because it's algorithmic disease, the social media.